Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Mindful Movement with AARP Alabama. I am your host, Margie Curry, and today's session is with our certified yoga instructor, Becca Impello. Becca has been teaching and practicing yoga for more than 20 years. We want to remind you that AARP empowers people to choose how they live as they age. AARP is a nonpartisan 501c4 organization that has over 420,000 members in Alabama. AARP's role is to advocate for those 50 plus and their families. AARP is committed to offering opportunities to people to stay engaged from your home. The Mindful Movement series provides an opportunity for you to keep moving in the safety of your own home. Becca.
Good morning, Margie.
Good morning, Becca. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty well. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing better. It's a little cooler today, so I'm better today. What do you have for us today?
Well, Margie, I just come back from some traveling myself. I had to take a child off to college, and we were sort of
Oh,
on the road, and it's coming up on sort of a travel season here at the end of summer, beginning of fall, with Labor Day weekend and football games that people are going to. So I thought I'd do a practice that sort of targets those things that get stiff and tight when we're sitting in the car or when we're traveling on
yeah.
plane. So we'll focus on sort of hips and low back and upper back. So we'll just do some things that hopefully you can carry on over into your travel plans if you happen to have them in the next couple weeks.
It sounds great. I have some travel plans coming up, and I'll be glad to get that information so that I can be mobile a little bit before I can get out of the car.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, folks, remember that before you begin any session of exercise, you make sure you consult with your physician to see sure it's safe to participate. All right, Becca, let's get started.
Okay, so we will do a fair amount of things using a chair. Any kind of seat will be a good place to do some of our stretches, but we'll also do some things in standing. I'll even probably use my wall over there. Just any old wall or pole or door frame will be a good use for some of the things that I'm going to show you if you're out and about traveling in the next couple of weeks or anytime this fall. Well, let's start with some breathing, right? So sometimes traveling can bring up a little bit of anxiety or agitation. You're not in your own space. It can be a little hard to feel settled. So we're going to start with a grounding breath, and that's just a good way to sort of bring yourself back down to a little more of a calmer energy, a little more focused, a little more present with your body and your surroundings. So sit with your feet firmly on the ground. Okay, up nice and tall through the chest. We're going to do this with an arm motion, and I'm going to give you an alternative as well. If you don't want to make the big motion with your arms, I'll give you an option that you can use that's a little different. But let's start with this. Inhale with the palms facing up and reach those arms up and overhead. And then as you exhale through the mouth, turn the palms down, blow that breath out, and just press those hands down into your lap. So again, inhale, palms up. Through the nose, big breath in, exhale. Slowly blow it out the mouth and press the hands down to your lap. Now, if you don't want to do this bigger motion with your arms, you, of course, can make it smaller. You don't have to go all the way overhead. So you can make any size movement. You could also do palms up as you inhale. Turn the palms just down or place them on your lap as you exhale. So that, again, would be palms up. Inhale, palms down, exhale. Let's do 3 more breaths. You can do either arm motion. One more breath, and then we're just going to pause. Pause once those hands get down to your lap. You might close your eyes. Breathe in and out through the nose. Just feel the ground under your feet, the seat under your chair, the hands resting on your thighs. Feel that connection to your present place, where you are right now in space. Bring that awareness now into your body. This is the place that you inhabit all the time. Your body is always with you, no matter where you travel or where you go. But sometimes it can take a little practice staying connected and grounded in our body. So take 3 more breaths here. All right, so we're going to start with some things for the upper back and shoulders and neck, because that can sometimes get stiff if you're traveling, especially if you're doing a lot of driving. So let's start with some shoulder rolls, just nice big rolls. Now we do these all the time, right? These aren't exclusive to when you're on the road or when you're out traveling. They're good movements to do for your body on a daily basis, in fact. But nice big shoulder rolls. I like to especially roll back with my direction, because it feels like it helps me sit up taller and get away from that slump or rounded posture that we sometimes can get into, especially if we've been sitting anywhere for a while. All right, 3 more of these big shoulder rolls. Good. Now those shoulders down and back, drop your chin towards your chest, just letting that head fall forward. And then just start to give it a slow, easy roll from shoulder to shoulder. Now you can go as far as you want to go. That means you don't have to go any certain distance. You want to just respond to the way it feels in your body to make this movement, to stretch these muscles through the sides of the neck. Let's do just a couple more. I do encourage you to stay pretty slow with your movement. You're going to get a little bit more out of it. All right, and then bring that head back to center on the chest. Lift it up. Pick up those hands, bring them here at the heart. Another one that I really like for the upper back is to pull and push. So to pull those arms back, shoulder blades back, elbows back, chest up, big breath in, and then push as you exhale, rounding that upper back, shoulder blades broad. Go back and forth. And you can make this bigger or smaller depending on how you're feeling in your body, right? So I can start to move my whole spine, even all the way down to a little bit of rocking on my hips, if that's comfortable. Or you can keep it more about the upper back and the arms and not take it all the way down to the pelvis. Yeah, let's do 3 more. Good. All right, now drop those arms down at your sides. Let's do a few more of those shoulder rolls. All right. Now, if you're confined to a seat during some of your travels, like maybe an airplane or a waiting area, some other things that you could do for the hips and the low back is to just do some circling on your pelvis. So let's start with that now. Sort of shifting around in a circle, going from one sitting bone over to the other and rolling a bit forward and a bit back as you circle it around. Really, any movement is going to be helpful for your body, even if you have to keep it small due to stiffness or soreness or space constraints. Let's go the other way. Some movement is better than no movement. And that's why we tend to feel stiff and a little achy when we're traveling, is because we're not moving, right? We're sitting still in the car or the airplane or something like that and not moving our body very much. So those joints and muscles get that feeling of stiffness and soreness. All right, let's go ahead and stand up. All right, so one thing we can do if we've been traveling or sitting for a while is to simply get up on our feet, push into those feet and engage our legs and just stand up nice and tall and take a few deep breaths. You could keep your arms down at your sides, or you could reach those arms overhead, either wide or narrow, just to help sort of lengthen out, get out all the kinks. So press through the feet, reach up through the crown of the head, maybe up through the arms. And then exhale and let those arms drop. Good. Now, a little bit of twisting is a good way to loosen things up. So you can start with your hands on your hips. And just see what it feels like to start to just turn right and left. And if you wanted to, you could now start to bring those arms into play and move those arms around as well. Now, if this makes you dizzy, then go slower or stop, or keep your eyes forward or on one spot while you twist the rest of the body or make a little bit of movement there. All right, let's come back to center. Reach down through the feet, stretch up tall once again. Maybe even taking a little bit of a reach back, right? So sometimes going into a little bit of that back bend will feel good if you've been traveling. Let's try that one more time. Press down through the feet, reach up, up, up. Maybe lean back a little bit and then release it down. All right, now let's use this chair as a place to put our hands so that we can do a little bit more loosening up for the lower back. Now you could also do this down on the floor. You can get down on hands and knees and do this same movement. All right, often when we're traveling, we're not in a place where we can easily get down on the floor. So this place where you put your hands could be, say, the back of your car, or a table that's somewhere where you're waiting, or a wall even, right? All right, so we're gonna get those hands down, feet back, and start to round the back. So I'm pushing into the chair, tucking the tail. Now we do this one often as well. This is not a brand new thing that you would just do traveling. Cat and cow, just a great overall mobilization and stretch for the spine, all the way through the spine, but especially that lower back. So this is a good one to do anytime. Remember to let those knees be bent as you take the chest up and the tail up. That'll give you a little bit more mobility for your back. Let's go back and forth a couple more times. Now, again, one of the main things we're after with this sequence themed around traveling is just getting things moving, right? So you don't have to worry about how you're doing it, if you're doing it right or wrong. You just need to move, right? So let's circle the hips now. This is another good one to get the hips moving. So I'm just pushing the hips, the pelvis around in as big of a circle as feels good for me. It's okay to pause if you feel like, oh, that's a good stretch right there. I'm going to hold that a second. You might go the other direction a few times. Good, and back to center. Let's go ahead and stand it up. All right, reach up again, take that big stretch up, and then release it. All right, now I'm going to turn the chair around, but I'm also going to show how you might do this with a wall or some sturdy, structure that might be around. We'll start with the hands on the back of the chair, though, and let's walk back, and I'm just lengthening back. I'm trying to press back into my hips. I can soften my knees as much as I need to if those hamstrings are tight. But really, I'm just trying to get as much length as I can in my spine and my arms. All right, and then let's step one leg forward. Now this lunge stance, this is a great one to do if you've been seated for a while, because it helps to open up the front of the hip, which gets a little shortened or tight when we've been sitting with it bent. So we take this long step, press that heel down, squeeze the glute here. That helps to open up the front of the hip. And if you want, you can reach one or both arms up. And again, take that reach or stretch or lift up in the front. Let's take 2 or 3 more breaths here. Good. And we'll transition. We'll just step it back into this long stretch here again. A couple breaths here. And then step the other leg forward. Again, that front knee is bent. The length of your stance can vary, right? You might step back further than me. You might not step quite so far. We do want to squeeze that back glute, sort of tucking the tail to help open up the front of the hip, Get up nice and tall. Again, one or both arms. If you wanted to keep holding on, you could keep holding on with one hand. Good. 2 or 3 more breaths here as we hold this stretch for the hips. Good. And then release, step it on in. All right, stand up tall. I'll roll those shoulders again a couple times. Now we're going to do that same sequence again in a moment. I'm going to just show what it looks like at a wall where you have something more sturdy that you can push against. But before we do that, let's stand and do a few heel kicks or buttock kicks, or, we're just doing this little kick behind us to help stretch out the front thigh and kind of, again, mobilize some of that muscle area that shortens up a little bit when we're seated. So just kind of going side to side, kicking those heels up towards your bottom, a good way to loosen up the thighs. And then let's stand on one leg, pick it up one foot and circle the ankle. Sometimes we get a little bit of swelling when we're traveling, right? Especially if it's on an airplane or really just anytime we're sitting for a while with our feet down, circle the other way. So any movement you can do with your feet, circles, point and flex, it's a good way to keep circulation going. All right, let's do the other foot. Stand on the other leg and just pick up that foot behind you and circle. Go the other way. Good. And release it. All right, now I just want to show that sequence that we just did, but using a wall. Now this could be something like the car. I do this often on the back of my car while I'm pumping gas, okay, to get a little stretch. Really anything that's sturdy enough to give a good push. I'm going to push my hands into that wall and reach back with my hips. Again, your knees could be bent. And then again, let's do that lunge stretch, a big step forward, squeeze the glute, lift up through the belly. You can keep those hands on the wall or you can reach them up. It could be one arm, it could be both. Good, and then we'll come back to pushing into those hips, getting that stretch out for the spine and for the legs. Don't forget to breathe. And then let's step the other leg forward. Lift up through the chest. Again, squeeze that glute. Maybe raise up through the arm or arms. And then release one more time. Let's step it back. And walk it in. All right, roll those shoulders again. Let's stand up nice and tall. Do that reach up, maybe that little dive back. And then let's take a side stretch. So drop one arm down and stretch up and over. You can also do this in seated. And then reach up, side stretch the other way. Let's do that again. Reach up in the center, take it over to the side. Back up in center and over to the side. And one more time back to center. And pull those elbows back and down. Open up through that chest. Lift the chin a little bit. And then sweep those arms out and give yourself a big hug. And then slightly round forward. Good. Pick up the head. Notice which arm is on top. Pull those arms, elbows back. Stand up tall. And wrap those arms around with the other arm on top. Give yourself that big hug. Maybe round it forward a little bit. And lift it back up and pull back out. And exhale Drop those arms down. All right, we're going to come back to seated in the chair so that we can do a few more stretches that are great for the legs and the hips that we can easily do from a seat. All right, so let's start with extending one leg forward, heel down, toes up. Then you're going to sit tall and then just lean in until you feel some stretch in the back of that leg. It may not take much for some. It may be that you need to lean quite a ways if you've got a little more, flexibility and length in your hamstrings. Take a couple breaths here. Good. And then sit back up tall. Let's pick that leg up and do a little bit more work with that foot and ankle. So circle the other way. And then heel down on the ground, point and flex. It's okay if your knee bends. Try to get some pumping action going on there. All right, let's switch out to the other leg. Stretch that leg forward, toes up, heel down. Get nice and tall. Maybe lean forward. You can always hold on to the chair for a little more security. Good. Keep breathing. Feel that stretch in the back of the leg. Good. Sit back up tall. Then pick that foot up and circle the ankle. Go the other way. Good, and then heel back down on the ground, point and flex, a little pumping action. Get that calf muscle going. Good, and release. Okay, now a little bit for the glutes, the hips. We do this one often as well. Again, none of these are exclusive to traveling. I've just tried to pull together the ones that I think are most helpful. So we're going to cross one ankle up to the knee, or ankle just below the knee, or closer to the lower shin or the ankle, wherever you can cross, right? Sit up nice and tall. Maybe do just a little gentle back and forth. That body, that torso leaning in and out. We're looking for some stretch, mobilization sensation here in this outer hip, glute area. All right, now let's see about holding. So you're just maybe taking it to the edge of your stretch and staying there in that position. Take a few deep breaths. All right, and then sit back up tall and see if you can cross all the way over. So not crossed at the ankle any longer, but crossed knee over knee. Okay, now if this crossing doesn't work for your body, you'll have your feet close together and just walk them over to the side, right? So either one leg crossed over or the two legs walking to the side together, and then we twist. Twist towards that top leg, okay, or we twist away from wherever we walked those knees towards. A couple deep breaths while you're in the twist. Trying to lift up a little taller as you inhale. Maybe going around just a little bit further as you exhale. Good, and then unwind that. Let's come back to face the center, uncross. We'll go to the other leg. So you'll cross the ankle, either down on the ankle, the shin, or up on the knee or the thigh. Sit nice and tall. See if you've got a little bit of room. Doesn't matter how big. It can be quite small. This little back and forth motion to help loosen up and feel into that hip, that outer hip glute there on the side that's crossed. Good, and then let's hold it for a bit. So lean in, find the edge of that stretch. Stay with it for a few breaths. Keep your awareness in your body and how these things are feeling to it. All right, let's sit back up tall, cross the leg all the way over, knee to knee, or legs side by side, and walk them over. And then lift up through that chest and turn gently away from the legs. Keep breathing here. Lift up tall as you inhale. Exhale, you might take it a little further into the twist. Remember not to use force with your arms. They're really there just to kind of help hold you in place. And then unwind it, come back around to the front, uncross, take a moment just to notice how things feel. All right, one last stretch that we can do. In most chairs, you can do this stretch. You turn a little bit sideways and you drop one leg down. So we get, again, some stretch for that front hip. Squeeze the glutes. You might stay right here. You could add a reach up of that front arm to add a little more stretch. And one other option, if it feels comfortable to you to bend your knee in this position, you can reach down and grab hold of your foot. Now, that's not necessarily for everyone. If it tweaks your knee, feels like you're going to fall out of the chair, keep that foot on the ground, reach up and take the stretch from that position. One more breath here. And release it. Now let's turn to the other side. Again, dropping that front knee forward. You could have it, just straight under the hip or even a little bit in front. Or for some folks, you'll need to get it back a little further to feel the stretch. So work with where your body tells you to go. Squeeze that glute. Maybe reach up through that arm. And of course, you still have that option like the other side to maybe reach down and grab that foot for a bent knee, a little deeper stretch on that quad. Good. All right, release and come back around to face the front. We're going to finish like we started with some of those grounding breaths, again, to just get us back into a place of feeling settled and in our place in our body. So inhale through the nose, sweep the arms up or turn the palms face up on your lap. Exhale, turn the palms down or press the hands down into your lap in front as you exhale through the mouth. Let's do a couple more of those. Inhale. Two more. You might close your eyes, feel your body on its chair, on the floor. And then pause with those hands on your thighs, palms down, feel your body. Check in. How does your body feel compared to just 30 minutes ago or so when we started? Do you notice any differences in your sensation, your ease, your presence? And you can open the eyes if you'd like. I encourage you, though, that was a 30-minute session or almost, right? So when you're traveling, maybe you don't have quite that much time at your pit stop or whatnot. So you don't have to do all of that. You could do any of those pieces, just the shoulder stuff and the neck stuff that we started with, maybe just some of the standing stuff to stretch out your back, or that last little bit of hip stretching might be what you need. So please feel free to take from these and use them in your travels over the next few weeks if it's appropriate for you to do so. And we thank you for joining us for Mindful Movement, and we hope you'll come back next Tuesday for another session at 10 a.m.
Thank you, Becca. Very helpful. I think that some of those exercises would be very good for any type of sedentary position. If you've been sitting too long,
Exactly.
that you can use that to really help you stretch out a little bit. So
Yeah.
thank you for that session this morning. Very good. And we appreciate everyone joining us today. We'd love to hear your comments or your questions. Please feel free to put them in the chat. But thank you, and join us again for AARP Mindful Movement Alabama every Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you so much, and everybody have a great week. Bye.
Safe travels if you're going anywhere.
All right. Thank you.